Hello, Miss Reed. Welcome to the presentation on cancer, written by me, Anthony. And sorry about the timing being off sometimes because my computer's audio died, or microphone died. What is cancer? Cancer is a term used when abnormal cells divide uncontrollably and are able to invade other tissues. It can start off with just one cell or a small group and eventually divide into millions upon billions upon trillions of cells. Also remember that tumors are not always defined by cancer. And that means that when you say tumor, it's not always going to be cancer. But when you say cancer, it's going to be a tumor. So that's what that means. And as I said before, sorry about the timing. Where does cancer begin? All cancer begins in cells and only cells. When people are referencing cancers that begin in glands or organs, they are actually referencing cells. The reason being is that everything in the body is made of different cells, and different is going to be very important. Having one type of cancer in, like, say, your skin doesn't mean you're going to have the same symptoms of another type of cancer, say, in your pituitary gland. Carcinoma is a cancer that begins in the skin and can cover up or line up on internal organs. Carcinoma can also spread from the skin to the internal organs. Sarcoma begins inside you, on or in the bones, cartilage, fat, muscle, blood, and blood vessels. Leukemia starts in blood-forming tissues and produces a large number of abnormal blood cells. Lymphoma and myeloma are cancers that start in the immune system. CNS cancers, or central nervous system cancers, start in or near the brain. Some CNS cancers you can't remove because you can't remove part of the brainstem, and you can't remove some parts of the brain. So you also can't radiate or chemo parts of the brain. You normally can't chemo the brainstem either. So there's that. Yeah, once again, sorry about the timing being off. Cancer can be caused by a wide variety of things. First off, there are carcinogens. Carcinogens are cancer-causing substances that vary from solids to liquids to gases. Believe it or not, cancer can be caused by a poor diet or lack of exercise. It is not a direct cause, but more of a risk increaser. You know the UV protection rating on sunscreen? Well, that's how much it protects us from tanning and UV light/radiation. Too much UV light can cause cancer. Some lifestyle choices can affect your risk of developing cancer. Smoking is one of the biggest, most well-known factors that affect your cancer risk. And there are first-hand and second-hand smoking. First-hand, you're directly inhaling all the chemicals and carcinogens in smoking. Second-hand, you're just inhaling smoke. There's no, cigarette chemicals, or cigarette anythings, because it's second-hand. You're not directly inhaling it. Sometimes people's genetics can put them at a 100% risk of getting cancer, or just be a risk increaser for risks. This means that you're more susceptible to risk. Your age is one of the biggest factors. Most people diagnosed with cancer are 65 or older, and the reason being is that cancer usually takes decades to develop. Sometimes environmental factors can influence your risk of developing cancer. Secondhand smoking and chemicals can factor into increased risk. And as I was saying again about secondhand smoking, you're not directly inhaling cancer chemicals like carcinogens from cigarettes. First-hand smoke is normally from cigarettes. I forgot to mention that. And the chemicals in cigarettes are they're not addictive, but nicotine is addictive. So you're basically just increasing your risk again and again and again, and coating your lungs with the tar and the chemicals in cancer. And eventually it just factors all up and you develop cancer in your lungs usually, or your throat, or mouth, but it's more likely going to be in the lungs because it resides in there most. The big idea: cancer overall is a foreign native to the body. It can be benign, which is just there, or malignant, which is dangerous and grows. There's going to be a slide or paint on malignant and benign tumors. There are many causes of cancer, but the most known causes are UV radiation and smoke inhalation. Environmental factors can also contribute to the development and risk factor, but you could also be in a bad environment for years for cancer to finally develop. All cancer always begins in cells and can travel throughout the body, but it's mostly centralized. Metastasis is where cancer travels through blood, and that leads to cancer being somewhere else in your body. Say it could start in your arm, where it starts in your heart and then spreads, because your heart is the main source of blood and blood-like, not transfusions, but transportation. Here we have our wonderful little skin cells, and the big bad sun just came in and starts UVing all over these healthy skin cells. This guy's been in Arizona, so he's gonna be in the sun a lot. We have lots of friendly little skin cells here, and he's not wearing any UV radiation protection or UV light protection. So eventually, all of those UV rays from the sun are gonna just start hitting those friendly little cells. They're there, and eventually you're gonna start to get the mean cells. Well, not mean, more sad. And here's the first cancer cell, and it was caused by the sun. So, what this guy does is he starts replicating like all cells do. What this guy does, he replicates once, maybe twice, maybe 100 times in his life. And so there's his first replication. And so what he does here, the cells start with one replication, and eventually the cells that have been replicated start to replicate, and eventually you have 1, then 2, then 4, 8, 16, goes into tens, hundreds, millions, trillions, billions, quintillions, quadrillions, and all those high numbers. And then you get getting all these other bad cells. And what happens next is classified by malignant and benign tumors. So the bottom right, we just got 2 malignant cells, and what they are doing is they're just reproducing like normal cancer, but they hate the world. So they're going to start infecting all the other cells, and they're going to start attacking the friendly tissue and start to produce pretty bad symptoms. And on the left, which I've just drawn, is benign. They've gotten big and fat, and they're just there. They don't do anything really. So benign tumors can sometimes cause things like, I don't know why I drew that arrow, but benign tumors on the left can draw like pretty bad symptoms, but you're usually not going to get a whole lot of bad symptoms. You could get like little things like, you have a benign tumor in your leg, you're going to get leg cramps and all that stuff. But with a malignant leg tumor, you're going to get things like blood clots. It's going to get bigger and bigger. Your leg could pop open. Some crazy stuff could happen. And I guess it could spread with metastasis, and you could just eventually get tons of cancer all over your body. So this was my presentation on cancer. Thank you for watching, Miss Reed. Once again, I'm sorry about the timing being off. Just thanks for watching. Bye.